everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and we are on part 2 of the Airship. And the base is just some rocks and flock on a CD. And the Airship was just a simple build using, I didn't base coat it very well, using mostly skewers, baby wipe, cardstock, and a toilet paper roll, and a bead. So, let's get it started. So what we want to do is we want to kind of get it all painted up in a brown color. And I'm going to start with this dark brown. And I'm going to use a kind of a bigger brush, if I can find one. My brushes aren't where I left them. Everything's wrong. Everything's wrong. I have some dirty paint water that's been here for a few weeks and it's half dry. We'll start with that. Now, it's pretty wet. And I want to keep it pretty wet because I want to be able to get down in my cracks without too much effort. And since I didn't do a good job with my base coat, I got to make sure I really cover everything up in these parts with this wet paint because it won't be brown if we don't. My base coat was lazy. It's a lazy base coat. Now, for those of you that watched part 1 and saw that that's just super glue on a baby wipe to make those panels, it really was super easy to do. It turned out pretty decent too. Seems sturdy, like it's going to do what I need it to stay together and survive the madness of miniature role-playing games. I suppose war games if you're doing that too. And I don't care if this is a really good coverage. What I really care about is getting it down in the cracks. That's what matters, is that we darken up. I did a bad job spraying the underside too, so we just got to make sure we get everything in the cracks. Man, did I do a bad job base coating this. If I could have a redo, I'd go ahead and hit this with black again. But I just kind of ran down here and got started and didn't really look. If I don't get every single square inch on the top, since it's black and coated well, it shouldn't be an issue. But down here on the bottom, we really want to make sure we get in the cracks, because if you could see that part in gameplay, it'll look bad. We don't want that. Make sure we're getting all these cracks though, because that will show white since I didn't paint it the way I should. We can also try to use a wash afterwards to fix some of that if we have to. But let's hope it doesn't come to that. And that bead doesn't look like an enormously great portion of construction on this, and I understand that. But I needed something to, as a quick way to get it to stay on my flight stand. Some more water and brown, get in there a little better. Some of those spots I just didn't get. Make sure we get it in there. bottom pretty much covered up the way we want it. Let's get this back on the flight stand. Let's dry the top. Let's start painting the flight stand while we're at it. So to do the flight stand, I'm just going to use dark gray. This is pavement. I got water in the brush there. We're just going to hit this. Try to get in the cracks where I missed. And there are a few of those. That's okay. Got some places where the glue didn't dry well, or I didn't put glue, or whatever the case may be. So I'm just going to carefully darken those up, cover those up so they're not noticeable in our final build. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to dry this with the air gun. Let me get my brown. It's kind of gloppy and floppy. I'm going to drag that around and dab some of this up and change some of the color of it a little bit. I'm not going out of my way to make this perfect. Now, I'm going to get that brown and on the spots where there's no texture. I'm going to try to get it down in there. Okay, and that'll be good enough. So let's get a lighter gray. This is called pewter gray. I'm just going to get a dumpy soft brush, one that's been kind of destroyed in other purposes. I'm going to make sure I coat that brush fairly good. I'm going to lighten this up a little bit around. Just kind of catching some of the high points in that rock. And I don't care if I get some of that dark brown in it. That won't hurt anything. Something like that. Okay. Now let's get that stem painted black. I'm just using a crappy brush, whatever I got, to make sure this is black. Okay. Something like that. It's pretty good. You can leave it like that. I'm going to do a little bit more with it. Not too much more. But I'm going to do a little bit more with it. So I'm going to get some clear glue. I'm going to pop that prophylactic off of that clear glue. There we go. just going to get a cheapy plastic brush like that. I'm going to hit some of these spots where the just brown is, where there was no texture. I'm just going to dab that around. And any spots that need covered up because I did something terrible, I'm going to do the same there. Okay. I'm just going to get some green flock. I'm going to sprinkle it on there. And something like that. I'm just going to dab a little bush on there real quick. And to do that, I'm just going to take a piece of this floral moss from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to smush it up into a ball. Oh, my hot glue is on. Let's turn the hot glue on. We'll come back to that. All right, so our ship's looking pretty good. It's not all the way dry. We're going to use that same gray and a makeup brush. We're going to wipe almost all that off. We're going to hit our airship pretty good with that. Make sure we're catching the railings. So if there's any wood grain that it catches, we hit that. Get a little bit more of that gray. Okay, we're going to hit the bottom up pretty heavily. Try to find any kind of texture we can. All right, cool. Now on this metallic there, we're just going to get a small brush. I'm looking for a small brush. Something with a little bit of control, hopefully. There we go, it's this. Perfect. We're going to get that black and a little bit of metallic. That's a lot of bit of metallic. Anyways, we're going to get this black and this metallic. We're going to make a dingy metallic. And we're going to paint up. That brush isn't going to work. I need something bigger. A little bit of water. We're going to paint up the railing, or the edges here. And just like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going to make those a little dumpy and good. Get more water so it covers it easily. There we go. I'll just spread that along there. Fill in that edge line up. We'll just dab that lightly. We'll do that little piece of back panel there. That little piece of front panel there. Just like that. Okay. Then on the sides, get more water. And we'll do this bottom. These straps here. Should have put some studs on there, some bolts to look cool, but I forgot about it. Sweet. Okay. Now let's focus on those railings. I'm just using more watered down black and metallic mixed to hit these. And let's get the sides a little better. Cool. Let's hit this with some hot air. Get it kind of dried up. Oops. Okay, I'm going to set this off to the side, and I think what we're going to use on the banners here is going to be a red. So I'm going to get a darker red first. This is called Cardinal Red. It's pretty dark. And just get a brush that you can get some coverage on there. I'm using that brush I just used on the silver and black and wiping it out. And just making sure my brush stays damp enough to drag the paint without fighting. And I don't care how perfect I paint this. I just want it to be close, you know. Close, but no cigar. Pretty ballparky. You're probably thinking, man, if I had a baby wipe. Okay. Something like that. Looks okay. Let's hit it with the air gun. Bring this thing back over. My hot air should be, or my hot glue gun should be warm enough by now, and it is. So I'm just going to get a nice glob there. I'm going to get some of this stuff, smash it into a ball, get it on there. I have a couple different colors of this stuff I could use. That's just a bright green one from the Dollar Tree. I have this one that is less bright. I could do a glob here with it. I'm just going to smash that together and push that down in there. There we go. And we can do a blob of a different color. I have a couple colors like this. It's like a dingy brown. Get a dingy brown. Shove that down in. Get that stuck. There we go. All right. Or dingy green, not dingy brown, sorry. Well, let's get this on here. You could stop there and be done. You sure could. You'd have a nice looking piece. You know, hold a couple minis on it. Oops. But you don't have to stop there. You can keep going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to dry these sails a little better. And I'm going to try to touch up some bad spots I did. So to touch those up, I'm just going to get a little bit of that dark brown again to clean where I made a mistake. Get this brush. It's pretty wet, maybe a little bit too wet. Just clean up around the areas where I got red on the wood. You don't have to, I don't suppose. It probably doesn't look too bad or too noticeable anyways, but just because. Alright, I didn't really do as much bad as I thought on that. Be alright. Let's dry that off. Pretty happy with my base, so I'm going to leave that alone for now. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to get my cardboard again, and I'm going to get a lighter red color, or an orange maybe. Like I have this flag red here, it's lighter. Get a little dab of that. I'm just going to get a makeup brush. I'm going to dab this around, just kind of lighten that up in some spots. And I'm going to use it to grab some of that moisture up too, just so it dries a little faster. I'm going to use that to just mix it up, give it a different look in some spots. It shouldn't be too drastic, but it'll be noticeable enough, I'm hoping. Okay. And then it could use a wash. Where did I put? I had some. I'm just going to use these, even though I hate to make a mess and waste stuff, but I just have some nasty paint water here, some black paint, and a little bit of dish liquid. Way too much dish liquid. And I'm going to find the brush that we were using earlier. Mix that up. There we go. It seems a little darker than what I wanted. Yeah, it's a little bit darker than what I wanted. We're going to add a tinge of lighter brown to that. I hope that fixes it. There we go. All right, so we're going to get it in all the cracks and crevices in here, just like that. You can get it on the black if you want it, or the silver if you want it, won't matter much. Then you want to get a rag or something. This is just a baby wipe. I'm going to dab off some of this excess stuff from the surface so it doesn't make it too dark. I'm going to come along the bottom with that same stuff, get it in all the cracks and crevices. And down here I'm just going to let it drip off. I'm not going to wipe it away. But I really want to make sure I get it in the cracks and crevices because there's still some light showing down there where I messed up earlier. Okay. I think I'll do, for the most part, what I want it to. Let's dingy this up a little bit more up top so it kind of matches when it dries. I'm going to dab off some of this down here on the metal. Just like that. Okay, then I'm going to let that sit and dry. And there you go, everybody. There's my little paper towel roll or toilet paper roll airship. And a base so that it's elevated for simulating combat. Pretty easy build. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Hit the notification bell icon. And all the happy crappy that helps the channel grow. I'll see you guys next time. Did I say leave a comment? Definitely leave a comment. Do me another favor while we're talking. Go to www.dungeon-swag.com and check out our Discord. Those are going to be linked in the description. And I'll see you next time.